Welcome to Crossroads, Fairmont on this Good Friday. I think it's appropriate to start off just saying, what is Good Friday? Today we observe what is called Good Friday. It's the day that usually recounts the horrific events of Jesus' final grueling hours before his ultimate crucifixion. Jesus was bound and beaten multiple times. He was severely whipped. He had skin, muscle, and tissue of his upper torso ripped from his body. He had his beard plucked out. He was given a crown of thorns. He was punched and ridiculed. He was spit on, blindfolded, laughed at. The book of Isaiah says that Jesus was led like a lamb to the slaughter. Speaking of this evening. And after these terrible things were done to him, he was ultimately crucified on a Roman cross 2,000 years ago, hanging by nails in his feet and his wrists. He was left to suffer, to die. Jesus was innocent, yet was condemned. Jesus was holy, yet was treated as trash. Jesus was righteous, yet he was considered rejected by God. Jesus was an innocent man, yet was given the death sentence. Jesus loved, yet was hated. This is a somber day. It's a day of reflection, pondering the depth of God's justice, God's holiness, and God's wrath. Yet it is also a day to ponder the depths of God's mercy, of his grace, and his love. The cross of Jesus is where we get a glimpse of the wrath of God against sin. God takes sin very seriously. God takes his glory very seriously. Why then, if today is to observe a horrible crucifixion of Jesus, is it called Good Friday? It seems like an oxymoron. It's good because it is the very act that makes salvation possible for you and I with God. Isaiah would later go on to say that it is because of Jesus' stripes, his whipped body, that we are healed. It's a divine paradox that God used the most unjust and brutal act of murder and death to bring about the most loving act of grace and life. The suffering that Jesus underwent on this day is a glimpse into the suffering that you and I deserve. None of us have lived for, have loved, and obeyed God perfectly with our lives as we were designed to do. And to not do so is to sin, which deserves death and the wrath of God. God took the initiative to send Jesus on a rescue mission to save undeserving sinners like you and I. He did so by leaving the glories of heaven to come to his creation on earth and be rejected. Jesus, who is God, became like us in order to suffer the wrath of God in the place of those whom he would save by his grace. Jesus on the cross took your place. Good Friday recognized that Jesus went through physically, Good Friday recognized what Jesus went through physically with torture and death, and why Jesus did it, for the salvation of many. Good Friday is good because God did something about our sin that deserves his wrath. He took it upon himself in Jesus on the cross. Good Friday is a historical fact on a calendar. But what makes it truly good is when you personally recognize what Jesus did for you. The punishment you deserve is what he took on the cross for you. And if you would humbly turn to him to ask him to forgive you of your sins, then it becomes good. I hope that this Good Friday, it would truly be good for you. I pray that this Good Friday, as we observe the rejection and crucifixion of Jesus, that his death would bring you life.